I got to thank David Neal. In all of my born days, I have never had anybody give me such an introduction. David, you're the consummate lawyer. Thank you very much. And I would like to thank every one of you for the kindness and the attention and the honor that you have given me by choosing to bestow me with this great honor, your Pursuit of Justice Award. To know that you cared enough to do this just means a great deal to me. And I want to, before I say anything else, I've got my beloved wife Priscilla and my son Christian. If y'all would stand, I'd like to introduce you. My partner Mariano Garcia and his wife Shelley, and my partners Cal Warren, Karen Terry, and Daryl Lewis. If y'all would stand, please. And I thank you very much for showing me this kind of attention. It means the world to me. I had something I was going to say to you, but something David said calls me, if you don't mind, I'm going to deviate. And I know a lot of you are my good friends. Some of you I don't know, and this is personal, but I'd like to share it with you. David said something about, we're supposed to have a professional attachment. You don't want to get too close to a case. Well, forgive me, but I don't think that's our problem. I think our problem is many times we don't get closely enough attached. We need to be at one with our client to represent them as well as they can. And I learned that in a very personal way. There's a novel that most of you might have read back in high school called The Tale of Two Cities. And all of you know the first two sentences to that novel. You might not remember it off the top of your head, but if I tell you the first sentence, you can tell me the second. The first sentence is, "It was the best of times." Of course, the second sentence says, "It was the worst of times." And there were two defining moments of my life, and they were the best of times and the worst of times. The first was June 1, 1960. I was a 12-year-old kid. I was the oldest boy in a family of 6. It was my job to take care of my brothers and sisters. My mom was driving us home from the beach, and we were in a section of Jacksonville over by JU, new neighborhood. They hadn't marked the streets with stop signs. It was a mistake. We're driving along, all of a sudden, wham! We go spinning in this big old Fleetwood Cadillac like a helicopter about a dozen times. Tremendous G-forces. Finally comes to a rest. I find I'm okay. But some of my little brother and my sister weren't in the car. I go looking for them. My sister, Bingy's in a coma in the gutter, looking like a little baby. Some people are taking care of her. I go looking for my 6-year-old brother, Henry. And I find Henry, he's lying in the sand by a telephone pole. There's a big hole in his forehead, teeth broken out. And I see him, he's got his eyes open, but they're just glassy. And I walk up and I say, "Henry." And he focuses and sees me and tries to sit up. Some people put him back down and put an airway in his mouth and pulled me away from him. It's the last I ever saw him. I was sent out to the beach to stay with my relatives. And the next day, while wearing my cousin's clothes, who was fat and 5 years younger than me and riding his little sister bicycle, I see the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my life. And he introduces me as the person who is to become my wife and the mother of my 4 children. And what she ever saw in me, I don't know, but I'm glad she did. Fast forward, 13 years later, I've started practice with the Freites firm down in Miami. The greatest moment in the world, I'm going to go in and watch the delivery of my firstborn child who had agreed to name after my brother Henry. And I see my son Raton entered at birth from a high forceps delivery. The best of times and the worst of times. In 2001, I find myself representing a family that had a 6-year-old daughter killed from a defective intersection. You talk about being close to the case. My partner Darrell used to track that case with me. It was like I was on fire with a righteous zeal. I could not do anything wrong. My cross-examination questions were like heat-seeking missiles firing the target. We tried that case. It was not just the death of the 6-year-old child. There were 2 3-year-old twins that had different forms of paralysis. We got a verdict for $256 million. 2004, I had a partner, very fine lawyer, worked up this trial as a medical malpractice case. A little baby that had been born at Bethesda Memorial Hospital right in Delray Beach. And if you looked at the records, nothing had been done wrong. And I picked up the records a short time before trial and started going through them and talked to the clients, and it was what happened to my little brother back on, to my son on March 21, 1974. And once again, I knew what happened. I dismantled all of the defenses, and they did have the greatest experts in the United States, and nobody, even our experts, said if the records are correct, then there was no negligence. The offer on the case was $1,000 for the baby, $1,000 for each parent. And we got a verdict for $64 million. So, $30 years later, a verdict for my little brother. Years later, the verdict for my son. Absolutely priceless. And I just, what David said just put me on that note. I think if we've got a problem, it's being too detached, not being too close to our clients. And for all of you who have died unto yourself,